What's going on, Badger Nation? Welcome to a solo episode of the PPC Den podcast. You're joined by thousands of other listeners, all aiming to better manage their Amazon PPC campaigns. Want to hear more? Head on over to adbadger.com. Let's go for a walk down the Austin skyline together, shall we? Almost every Sunday, you can find me running along the lake here in town. I like to walk a little before I start that run. Now, I had an interesting topic, and it's a relatively quick one, but a very important one to advance from beginner to intermediate and into advanced. It's along the lines of what do you do, what does your process look like when you experience an ACOS increase? What are those first actions that I take when I get a message from a listener that says, hey, my ACOS is worse this month than it was last month? Or even, hey, my ACOS in the last 2 weeks is 45%. It's usually 30%. What should I do? Here is what I do. So the first thing that makes life a lot easier, and this is a quick aside really, bulk file backups and a log of all of your changes. So much of PPC is looking back to the past, scratching your head and asking, what did I do that caused a particular change? Using a project management board, and there are tons, Trello, ClickUp, Monday. Here at AdBadger, we use Asana. In my personal life, I use Google Keep and Evernote. The point is, we need to be able to know what changes were made on different days, and hopefully you're keeping a log of changes, meaningful changes inside your account. I talk a lot on this show about planning your week, even planning your month with routine tasks as well as new tasks. Log them. It makes life really simple. One task that I have on my project management boards is to have somebody from the team go in and actually download a bulk file backup every Monday, just in case I need to reactivate a time capsule of a particular account to an earlier save state. Gets used very, very rarely, but when you need it, it's very helpful. Now, let's actually talk about diagnosing an ACOS increase. I first want to talk about what not to do. What not to do. I've seen campaign managers and entrepreneurs do the following. ACOS is increasing. They look at the account and then they just start making a whole bunch of changes to try to fix it. What's wrong with this? Well, it misses a very, very vital step. Trying to understand specifically where and why the ACOS is increasing. It's very likely that if you're just going in there and you start slashing at things and modifying things right away, the ACOS here isn't what it should be, I'm going to make some big changes. You could theoretically be changing something in a campaign that, was consistently at 45%. 45% is high and you're trying to get down to 30. You might open up your account and be like, oh man, this is at 50%. I need to go make dramatic changes to it, when maybe that was actually 45 or 50% for the last 3 months. And you could still be having that issue that caused the account-wide ACOS just lurking there because you didn't take time to diagnose it. What you want to do is you want to isolate and study the campaigns that have risen and fix those issues locally. Here's what I mean. When I'm first called to diagnose an issue of an ACOS increase, I do this. First thing I do is I gather everybody involved in the account. VAs, partners, contractors, software providers. Try to loop in everybody. At Badger customers, request a call, hit us up. We love helping. What changes were made last week? Let's try to talk about it. Let's try to diagnose it. Was there a particular change on a certain day that caused a big ACOS in a certain set of campaigns that changed significantly quickly? You want to be able to pinpoint and isolate it. And that is very, very, very key. At this stage, you might find easy issues. Anything overt you can probably find very, very quickly. Maybe you launched a bunch of new campaigns, a bunch of new keywords, a product went out of stock, a competitor did something crazy. Those easy to find issues that sort of exist, outside of the world of performance because it's something new, something different, you'll want to identify. After that, you want to dig a little bit deeper. And if there weren't any big account changes with products or campaigns or just launching new campaigns, launching new keywords, I then start doing time versus time comparison. And this is very, very important. I might compare July versus June to find out what changed the most in terms of a few key metrics. If you're good, you're actually comparing the time Not so much the month, but more so the time where the ACOS shifted dramatically. And hopefully you can pinpoint that. And then, because it might be June 1st to the 20th. And then on the 20th of June, it got really crazy. So you would want to view sort of like June 21st, maybe to July 21st, compared to the previous time period, like the previous chunk of time. But to keep it simple, you might compare July versus June, if July and June had very different levels of performance. And what you want to do here is you want to see what campaigns had the ACOS spike. ACOS obviously being the thing that we're trying to fix for. So we're looking at that, trying to find any campaigns that had an ACOS jump. And then here I'm building a list of those campaigns which had a list of their ACOS jump precipitously. Ideally, I'm using some kind of tool to give me that data at the ad group level, because if you have a campaign with a steady ACOS, it's possible that you had one ad group that got really, really bad, and then another ad group got really, really good, and thus they leveled out in the campaign level, but it caused further issues downstream. So you want to be really thoughtful and really careful about how you're analyzing. To keep it simple, I personally really like to do single ad group campaigns. I talk a lot about it on this show. It makes life really, really simple. And, people ask me sometimes, the single ad group campaigns versus multi ad group campaigns really change my performance? The answer is, not really. However, I think the act of having tighter, more segmented campaigns makes my life really simple. So yes, I'm still out there segmenting match types. I'm still out there segmenting things in small little buckets of about 30, 35 keywords, if not single keyword campaigns, to make my life really easy when it comes time to do this level of analysis. So regardless, you're looking for campaigns that specifically had the ACOS jump. Just this alone is already more analysis than I see a lot of people doing. This kind of analysis, right off the bat, is going to separate beginner to intermediate Amazon ad optimizers. When your account level ACOS goes up and you're able to go in and say, oh, okay, these are the 5 campaigns that contributed to an ACOS increase over the last 30 days, just that very sentence alone, intermediate. Now, how do we get a little bit more advanced? Once you have those lists of those 5 campaigns that really contributed to an ACOS increase, you continue your time versus time comparison. Were there more clicks, fewer clicks? Did the conversion rate change? Was my budget limited and I missed sales? Did the CPC change? Did I increase bids too much? Not enough. Did my CTR go down? Did I get more clicks on product pages than top of search than I normally do? When you can start to answer those questions, you've now slipped into the world from an intermediate to an advanced optimizer. Being able to go in and say, these are the 5 campaigns that had the biggest ACOS jumps, and if they didn't have that ACOS jump, the account level ACOS would have been exactly the same. And I know specifically that it was a CPC increase and some other metric that changed. If you're able to list those metrics that change specifically in those campaigns, you can then know exactly what you need to do. Did CPC change and ACOS change? Well, boom, now you know that the bids were too much. Did your conversion rate change a little bit? Did you make any changes on the product pages that impeded this? Did competitors do something that impeded your own conversion rate? Being able to identify those kinds of things using real hard data before you make any changes. Because once you know what metrics were impacted in what campaigns and ad groups, you can start to brainstorm. Why did my CTR go down? Why did my conversion rate change? And start to fix and diagnose that real issue, as opposed to just going in with a sledgehammer and starting to break down pieces of the account which maybe didn't need to get broken down. Notice we're almost finished with this episode and I haven't actually made a single change to the campaign yet. Taking time to analyze, think, plan, strategize before you take action to fix a rising ACOS is the vital step of this episode. As Abraham Lincoln said, if you can give me 5 hours to chop down a tree, I'll spend the first 3 sharpening the saw. When this works perfectly, I can surgically identify the causes of an ACOS increase and then take the appropriate action to fix it. I find so many PPCers lack clarity in their campaigns. Like the campaigns are in a constant earthquake of huge activity. ACOS shifts a little bit. They make big account-wide changes. ACOS may shift up or down. They make some more changes. You want to be able to laser identify the exact cause and take appropriate action. We don't want to be reactionary in life, and we don't want to be reactionary in our campaigns. If we want to be an advanced marketer, we need to take the time to report, analyze, brainstorm, and surgically and precisely improve account at the campaign, at the ad group, at the keyword level. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to run around Lady Berkelade here in Austin. Join me next week here on the PPC Den podcast, where we'll be back with more strategies and techniques to improve your PPC campaigns. Have a good one, everyone out there. Stay badgery.